He is back, and our squad just got that much better. Oh, and the Bengals are in town tonight. Let's talk about it. Let's talk Ravens with Yolanda. Today's video, we are going to discuss each player that makes up the offensive line. Woo! Good evening, Ravens flock. I have been waiting all day for Thursday night, and I hope you all have been too. Finally, it's here. It's almost go time, and I couldn't be more ecstatic. I'm excited. I got my jersey. I'll show you which one it is in a little bit once we get a little further into the show. But I want to just share my excitement with you, and I certainly welcome yours and your feedback, because guess what? Keaton Mitchell is back. If we thought we had an offense that just was like unstoppable, unbeatable, except sometimes when the offensive line doesn't hold up, but for the most part, if we thought that our team was amazing as it stood before tonight, watch out. NFL, we're here to put you on notice. Don't come for the Ravens, because offensively, we're going to shut you down. So Keaton Mitchell returns tonight. I'm really, really excited to see him back. I want to make sure that we safeguard him. Don't overuse him. I know we are all wanting to see him just kind of pick up where he left off before his injury, but listen, I'm just so happy that he's active tonight. All right, before we dive into the show, I want to say hello and give a warm welcome to those who've already joined in the chat. Tim Hughes was first. Thank you for joining. And Connor, Odin, thank you very much for being here. I hope you guys are doing just fine. I hope you're excited like I am. I'm not going to say excited anymore. I can't promise that, but I'll try not to. But that's how I'm feeling. I hope you all are really looking forward to tonight's game. I know it's a school night, but maybe your dad will let you stay up just a little bit longer just to watch some of the game. We have with us 86 Ghost, one of my wonderful, wonderful channel members. Thank you for being here. And for you, there are some really cool emojis that my channel members get to use, and there are different, different emojis and so forth that I've created for my channel members. And if you would like to join and become one of the channel members here at Ravens Talk with Yolanda, you can do so. Down below, there's a join button, and it gives you 3 different tiers that you can choose from if you just want to support the channel just a little bit further. I see we have Davon. Cousin Davon is here. Yes, fire. Woo! We are going to be on fire tonight against those busy Bengals. Why do I call them busy? I'm glad you asked. A friend of mine was talking to me, and she's not really a huge football fan, but I was saying early on, I was like, yeah, this is a team that we play twice a year because they're in our division. And I showed her a picture of Joe Burrow and his helmet. And only thing she said was, why are their helmets so busy? There's just too much going on up there. They're trying to confuse you so you don't win. So that's where the busy Bengals comes from. Rave Kingdom, good evening. Thank you. Thank you. I want Keaton Mitchell at kick returner. He was taking some reps from what I saw on social media on X. So there you go. Right out the gate, Rave, huh? Yeah, that's it. You know Rave doesn't waste any time, Davon. Rave gets right to the point. That's it. Thank you all so much for joining. Let's talk about where we are. Right now, the Ravens are sitting at 6-3, going up against the Bengals, who are at 4-5. Do we have what it takes tonight to sweep these Bengals and just really deliver a crushing blow to the Bengals' playoff hopes? I believe we do. There's a formula, there's a recipe for us to get there, but it's going to take a lot of work. And I saw earlier, Tim Hughes believes that this is the game where our defense shines. It really needs to be. And I think it needs to be for several reasons. We don't want to lose morale. We don't want the offense to feel like, hey, we're doing our job on this side. We're putting up points. Now it's up to you to defend them. And against this Bengals offense, This is one, and we'll look at injuries in just a bit, but this is a team that we really cannot afford to make the mistakes that we were making earlier on in the season with this team. We know we played them in week 5, and it came down to a field goal in overtime to put us over the edge at 41-38 against them. Don't think for one moment that these Bengals are not coming in here. They're desperate, right? Their backs are against the wall. Don't think for 1 minute that they are not prepared to pass this ball all night. And if we don't have an answer, a response for defending the middle of the field and the defensive backfield, then we're going to be in trouble. It's going to be a long night. But we'll get into all of that. I'll share my thoughts. I see you, Joey. Yes, we're going to talk about score predictions in just a bit. Dewan100, thank you for joining. Thank you. Where to start? All I can say for this game, wow, Lamar Jackson and this offense on fire. They have been incredible. And from here, it just continues to increase week after week. And if we can just get this O-line, right? If we can just get them to hold up, continue to make incremental improvement, we'll be okay. Let's have a look really quickly at some of Lamar Jackson's stats. From here, we see through the first 9 games, Lamar Jackson has a total of 2,379 yards, 20 touchdowns. He's tied for second. He's only has 2 interceptions and a QB overall rating of 77. He's first. That's amazing. And who is he tied with at second? Glad you asked that. You guys are asking some great questions tonight. He is tied with none other than, you guessed it, Joe Burrow. Yep, that's the one. So Joe Burrow, he's right at 2,244 yards, 20 touchdowns, tied with Lamar Jackson. He has 4 interceptions, and his QB rating is 76.3. He is second. So these are 2 great quarterbacks, dynamic in their own right. And tonight, it's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. That's who wins the game. We have injuries on both sides, and we'll start with the Ravens. What I will say about ours, let me pull up the injury report before I begin. So let me go over here to the injury report. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm almost there. All right. So let's look at the injury report real quick for the Baltimore Ravens, and then I'll kind of work backward and tell you what my thoughts are based on this injury report that just came out. My Stream Deck button works sometimes. It doesn't work other times. Just bear with me. Inactives tonight for the Ravens. Jalen Armour-Davis. Okay. Tre'Davious White. Okay. Rasheen Ali, Adisa Isaac, Nick Samick. Here's where it gets a little... The one that I really was hoping to see, but I knew he wouldn't be active, Isaiah Likely. So what does that mean in terms of our offense? It means that I expect and fully anticipate a huge game for Mark Andrews. We'd seen where Isaiah Likely had really taken a leap in terms of his productivity, but now without him tonight, spotlight's on you, Mark Andrews. What are you going to do? Are you going to be able to really carry a lion's share of the load tonight? Because we don't have Isaiah to help you. That's what I'm looking for first. Also, Brent Urban. So one place that we know, and I'll talk more about this in just a bit, is the trenches, right? Our defensive trenches have kind of taken a little bit of a beating. And one thing that we have to do is make sure that we're able to apply pressure to Joe Burrow. But let me kind of walk backward and start with where I think we need to be on offense. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, our offensive line has to be there and they have to be ready. We know we're going up against Trey Hendrickson. Ronnie Stanley, it wasn't the greatest when we played them in week 5. That's going to have to change. It must be better this game. The reason being, number one, there's more film. There's more games that the Bengals have been able to watch on us, watch our tendencies. And I fully expect Trey Hendrickson to come out here and really try and tear things up tonight. He is excellent. I think he's one of the top in the league, maybe number one, number two, at getting after the quarterback in terms of sack totals this year. We know that Lamar Jackson has been dealing with a knee and a back injury. Our goal tonight for this offensive line is to keep him upright. We cannot afford the sacks, the QB hits. That's what must not happen tonight. We want to ensure that Lamar comes out of this game unscathed and ready to go, clean, healthy, all of our players, and not just our players. Obviously, I don't wish bad on any team, so want both sides to be healthy. Now, what I am looking for, against Trey Hendrickson, he has 11 sacks this season already. 11. Wouldn't it be nice if one of our players had 11 sacks? Oh, stay focused, Yolanda, stay focused. We're not talking about defense right now. Don't have my rabbit come out here and tell me because I'm going down a rabbit hole. I'm sure I am. But see? But wouldn't it be wonderful if we did have 11, one of our players had 11 sacks? But that's not where we are right now. But it would be nice for us to get an early lead offensively and allow Lamar Jackson to sit down on the bench the fourth quarter. But that's, wishful thinking, because that would mean that our defense would be able to defend that lead, that whatever we gave them, we, come out of the gate very early, build on a lead, have some turnovers. Yes, that'd be great. Get some turnovers on defense. But again, I'm on offense, but get an early lead and let Lamar sit for the rest of the game, like the fourth quarter. I would love that. That would be great, especially because we know, like I said, he's been dealing with an injury. We don't want to aggravate it. We don't want to make it worse because we know we are really nothing without him. So last week, the Bengals won against the Raiders. And the Bengals defense, they had 5 sacks, 4 of which came from Hendrickson. Please pay attention. I hope Todd Monken has an answer for Trey Hendrickson. That is crucial to me. The Bengals pass rush over the last game or two has started to wake up. We know that prior, as I gave you the record for the Bengals, they were not doing very well in the first part of the season. But here, as of late, they've started to turn it up a notch. This is not a team that you want to just, believe, they're 4-5. Come on. They're not going to really do anything. Yeah, they are. And at any moment, this team can get red hot. Let's not let it be tonight at the bank when we premiere our purple unis. What is it called? Purple Rising. Let me know in the chat if I got that right. But we don't want them to have a get right game. And this is a team that really, they have the tools to do that. So let's not allow it to happen. They woke up and we need to put them back to sleep. Our offensive line needs to be able to do that. But I do expect to see a bit more of Deontay Johnson tonight. That would be interesting to see how much he contributes, what type of, how he's going to fit into the scheme for us on offense. That'd be great. But as I mentioned earlier, Isaiah Likely, he's a huge part of this offense. He is out. So that means we need to get all of our playmakers involved, get them involved early. One thing that we've seen over this season, drops from our wide receivers. Our pass catchers have had some drops, and that's from Zay to Bateman, and I'm sure we can name a couple of others that have had drops too. We'll need to make sure that tonight we don't have that. And we really do pretty good at the bank, especially on primetime. When we bring out Lamar Jackson on primetime television, it's something about him that's just so different, so incredibly different. So, but I want him to come out of the game. I don't want him to run too much because I don't want to risk anything. I want him to be okay. So that's kind of what I'm looking for tonight. I see Joey has joined. Good evening, Agent E. Thanks for being here. Jose from Lunch Break Hot Take. Make sure that you go over and subscribe. He is one half of Lunch Break Hot Take. Make sure you go over and subscribe to his channel. Yes, Kyle Van Noy will make a play. Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to that, Joey. I'm going to hold you to it. And when we do our halftime check-in, I hope you come back because I'll say, Joey, you were right. Kyle Van Noy made a play. But, excuse me, I see David Hunt in here, Antonio Taylor. David Hunt is one of my channel members, as well as B Squared, Brandon Bazel. Those are a couple of my channel members. Thank you for supporting the channel. Antonio Taylor, what jersey are you rocking, Yolanda? I'm going to get to it in just a bit. I know. This jersey, this one, oh, yeah, this one is a special one because it's got my sorority colors on it, but don't worry about that. I'll tell you who it is in just a minute as we move over to the defense. Some of you probably already know. If you know what jersey I'm rocking tonight, let me know in the chat. But one thing we need to continue to do, and we've been very successful on offense, continue with play action using Derrick Henry. We have to continue to use Derrick Henry. Run the ball. That is what works for us. And this Bengals defense, they are not very good at stopping the run. They're going to try. I do believe that they will try, but we have to continue to run the ball. And if they want to force Lamar Jackson to throw the ball, great. We can do that too. We certainly can. And we have the weapons to do it. And last week against the Broncos, the Ravens were able to put up 41 points against a top 1, 2, 3 defense in the league. So we have what it takes to get it done. It's just a matter of us staying true to what works for us. Let's not deviate from that. And, now that we know Keaton Mitchell, as I mentioned, is back, let's see how he is, involved. Let's see how we involve him into this equation. But again, I want to take our time with him. I want to work him in slowly. I don't want him to re-aggravate anything. That's me being extra cautious just because it was a really serious injury. I know it's been a full year or almost a year. I think it was like late November, maybe early December of last year when he had his injury, but I welcome him back, but on maybe a limited snap count. Danity is in here. Yes. Welcome to the stream. Thank you. Make sure that you hit the like button. If you are enjoying this content, we are on the road to 2,000. Make sure that you hit the like button. And if you are new, welcome, subscribe, join the family. Make sure your post notifications are turned on so you don't miss content that I release on this channel. Another thing, the Bengals rush defense is ranked 6th in the league, holding running backs to about 4 yards. That's it. Well, our O-line is going to need to be able to create lanes. So they're not the greatest in terms of their pass defense, but their rush defense is ranked 6th. So there's that. And like most other teams, I think they're going to try to overcommit to stopping the run, which, okay, like I mentioned, that's fine. If you do that, we can certainly pass the ball with ease. And Lamar Jackson has shown and has demonstrated this season that he can do just that. Good evening, Frank G. Live. Thanks for being here. Couple of keys for the defense. And before we move on, let me know in the chat, what are your thoughts about Keaton Mitchell? How many carries do you think he will have? Do you think he'll primarily be on special teams? Do you want to see him get involved in the run game? And if so, limited snap count. How would you like to see him this night? How would you like to see him? Yeah, Antonio, I'm with you. Feed Keaton lightly. Don't rush him back like we did Dobbins. Yeah, for sure. And hopefully the Ravens have learned their lesson. Experience is the best teacher. So hopefully the Ravens have learned that, when you're dealing with a serious injury like this, kind of take your time. Let's see where he is right now. Give him a limited snap count, and I welcome him back. Keys, I think, for the defense. Tim Hughes, I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to hold you to tonight. Our defense gets right against these Bengals. That brings me to, how do we do it? Well, we know that our interior D-line has kind of gone through some injuries. I showed the injury report earlier. but we need to make sure that we're ready and that we're prepared to get interior pressure on Joe Burrow. One of the things that I thought about, and I didn't want to kind of like rush into making a video about it until I kind of like let it sit with me for a bit, but how the Ravens attacked the trade deadline. What did they do at the trade deadline? Well, we know that they traded for Deontay Johnson. And now now cornerback, I always forget his name, Tre'Davious. Did I say it right? Tre'Davious? Yes, I did. Tre'Davious White. So they brought in cornerback Tre'Davious White. They made a trade for him. And kind of like my thoughts were, yes, I think this would be a good depth piece, but I really felt as though we had more pressing needs at pass rush. We know that we have interior D linemen who are kind of banged up right now. Michael Pierce is on injured reserve. Brent Urban is out with a concussion. He's inactive. So this means we need to have a really big game from Nnamdi Madubuike, Well, Broderick Washington has got to have a big game. And I keep calling him Justin. Nnamdi Madubuike, to me, has not really been living up to the contract that we paid him. It's time for him to have that kind of like breakout game. And Tim Hughes, if this is your night that you believe that starting from, our defensive front, starting from there, if you believe that we really can get this ship on the right path in terms of, not just being number one in rush defense, but also being able to increase or improve from being bottom in pass defense. If this is the night, I think it starts with the D-line. And to take some of the pressure off of our struggling secondary, I really would have liked to see the Ravens make a move or a trade for a pure pass rusher. Obviously, I wanted Max Crosby. I don't know how realistic that would have been. We have 11 draft picks. It could have been realistic, I think, but it would have meant that we would have had to part ways with quite a bit of draft capital to get him. That's not something that the Ravens typically do. All right, there you go. But if not a Max Crosby, you need a game wrecker, right? You need someone who's really good at getting after the quarterback. I would have taken Jadeveon Clowney. That's what I would have wanted. And I know it was brought to my attention that hey, our, in terms of our pass rush, in terms of our edge rushers, we're 5th in the league in terms of sack total. It was let me triple check. You're right. We are 5th in the league in terms of sacks. It just really doesn't feel like it. Kind of like Roquan Smith. Several games, Roquan Smith has been our leader in tackles. It just didn't, after the game, when I would look up his stats and look up how many tackles he had, I'm like, wow, it didn't feel like he had 12 tackles or 10 tackles. It didn't feel that way. So one thing that I would prefer is for us to have I would prefer us to give less time to these quarterbacks. I don't feel like our edge rushers and our defensive line, I don't feel like they are getting enough pressure on these quarterbacks. When we played Joe Burrow, when we played Jaden Daniels, when we played Jameis Winston, and last week against Bo Nix, it felt like we gave them all the time in the world back there in the pocket. That's what I want to see more of, that aggressiveness. We saw it in Jadeveon Clowney last year where, arguably he had probably one of the best seasons of his career. I would have loved to have brought him back strictly for that, but we didn't. We went in a different direction. We went cornerback. And let me know your thoughts on how the Ravens did this particular trade at the trade deadline. Were you pleased with it? Were you wanting someone else? And if you wanted someone else, who did you want? What position? Let me know. But going back to the game, we're going to need to see not only pressure on Joe Burrow. You have to. Given that he has Jamar Chase, and yes, T. Higgins has been ruled out for tonight. So that does free up our secondary some. It's going to be a benefit for us because now that allows for us to double team Chase. because we can focus all of our attention on him, rightfully so, because he's just that good. But again, it starts up front. It starts in the trenches. Do not give Joe Burrow all the time in the world to throw. Make him uncomfortable, right? And make sure tonight, here's the jersey. That's right. Let me stand up so you can see it. Odafe Oweh. I have on my Odafe Oweh, my bright jersey. It's, this is my bright one because this is the one that if I were going to the game tonight, I would wear this one because I want him to see me. It's bright pink, bright green. I want you to see me, Odafe Oweh. I want you to see that I have your jersey on because I need you to come through. I need you to come through. I've been on these live streams and in these videos and in these real and digital streets defending Odafe Oweh without fail. I need him to come through. I can't be wrong about this. I know I'm not. But, we've got to contain Joe Burrow, get pressure on him, get the sacks, make sure that that's what we had, make sure that that's our game plan. And their offense, their propensity is to pass the ball. This is not a team that's going to try to run a whole lot. This is one that's really going to try to win this game through the air. We know that. So that means if we had more of an effect at pass rush, and if we have more of an effect coming off off of our D-line, then guess what? Then we're able to have less pressure and less reliance on our secondary, which has been a bit of a mixed bag, has been really a bit of a mixed bag. We've struggled even in protecting the middle of our field. We've seen Roquan have some struggles. We've seen, our linebackers, our interior linebackers, we've seen them struggle. We've seen it. So this is nothing new. It's just a matter of tonight, there needs to be a very good game plan. Like, really, I need Zach Orr to call the game of his life. But not only that, because it's not wholly on Zach Orr, although he is the defensive coordinator, so we're going to rightly put some blame there. But I also need these defensive players to come prepared to play. Marlon Humphrey said in a presser this week, he said that it's not fair, the criticism that Zach Orr has been getting, because it's on us as the players to go out there and make plays. And they just really haven't been doing that up to the standard of a Ravens defense. So with that in mind, I'm with you. I hope you're right, Tim. Please, Ravens defense, go out there and get it done. Because I have all confidence in our offense, in their ability to score the points. We just need to defend the lead that Lamar Jackson gives us. We need to be able to slow down. I don't think you're going to stop Joe Burrow. He's tied with Lamar Jackson. In his own right, he's an excellent, excellent quarterback. You're not going to stop him. Slow him down just a bit. So let's hope, like Frank G's Life said, let's hope that tonight our secondary gets right. Let's hope that this is the start of them being able, but to me, Frank G Life, it's hard to believe that it will be that for them unless we get some pressure and some sacks from our D-line. That's the only way I think right now the secondary is going to really rise to the occasion. So John Parsons, I see you in here. Yes, Frank G Life, we need some turnovers. That's another formula. That's another piece of the equation here, right? Equip Institute, I see you. I also see Mr. Galloway. Just want to take a moment to say hello to everyone, who has joined. If you have a YouTube channel and if you would like to, you can type in !house and my Nightbot should drop the link to your channel so that we can all go over and support you and the content that you are creating on your respective channels. But yes, going back to Frank G. Life's comment, we need turnovers. Tonight would be a great game. We saw last week against the Denver Broncos when Ardarius Washington on that opening drive came out, got a turnover, got an interception. That was wonderful. That was great. We didn't do much of anything on offense when we came out on, after the turnover, but we still won the game. So all things are fine. But Marlon Humphrey, he leads us right now in interceptions. This would be a great game. Kyle Hamilton does not have any interceptions this year. This would be a wonderful game for Kyle Hamilton to either get a sack or if we're playing him as a linebacker, if we're playing him in that role, it would be great for him to either get a sack or an interception. I'll take either one from Kyle. He's been relatively quiet. So that's what I would like to see. Yeah, turnovers for us are going to be big tonight. They're going to be huge. We know that. And a couple of other points. We need a big game from, as I mentioned earlier, in the trenches. Broderick Washington, Travis Jones, Nnamdi Madubuike. It starts with them. But we also need a big game from my guy, Odafe Oweh. We do. Here's something that was a head scratcher, and let me know in the chat what you think. And if it makes sense to you, help me to understand it. If pass rush has been an area of, I'm going to say concern, right? If it has been an area of weakness, why did we release Yannick Ngakoue? I understand we needed to create a roster spot for Keaton Mitchell. I understand. We couldn't find another player that could have sat on the bench tonight, that we could have benched tonight. If our thought process is, hey, Baltimore Ravens, edge rush is a problem. We're not getting the amount of pressure. We're not getting, increased sack total. Why did we waive Yannick Ngakoue? We waived him, and they're hoping to claim him on, if they're hoping to sign him to the practice squad if nobody claims him on waivers. But that was just something I thought about that really didn't make sense to me. So, we'll see. I don't know. So that's one less potential edge rusher that we can use tonight to apply pressure to make Joe Burrow uncomfortable. So there we go. That pretty much sums it up. They're, like I mentioned, Bengals tonight, their offense, very good offense. That's not the problem for this team. The problem was they kind of look like us. They almost mirror us. They have a very good offense, but then their secondary is questionable. Secondary is kind of, their defense, and largely to the secondary and some to a lesser degree, their linebackers, questionable. That's kind of been their Achilles heel from what I see. So, I just think that the Ravens could have done something different, because to remove Yannick Ngakoue. And I'm not saying that Yannick Ngakoue came here and just kind of, played lights out. No, we just got here like 5 minutes ago. But to take away a player who could potentially cause some havoc and get in, Joe Burrow's face, why did we do that? Doesn't make sense. But anyway, so going back to Odafe Oweh, let me say this. Odafe, I hope you watch this channel, because I'm always rooting for you. You might not be watching it right now because you need to be on the field. Game's about to start in about 10 minutes. But if you watch this on replay, I hope you do. Welcome. I want to say, I hope tonight Odafe Oweh gets a sack against Joe Burrow. I ran my big mouth in that last game at week 5, and I said, oh, yes, Odafe Oweh, he is absolutely getting a sack against Joe Burrow. He got one last year. I was quiet because that didn't happen. So this game, yes, I'm calling it now. Odafe Oweh, at least one sack. 1.5 would be great. But at least one sack tonight on Joe Burrow. That would be great. Let me take a few comments, and then we'll get out of here, because the game's going to start pretty soon. So let me take some comments, see what you have to say. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. And while we do that, while I pull up some comments, let me know who wins tonight. Drop your score predictions in the chat. Let me know who comes out with the dub tonight. Told you my stream deck needs a couple minutes to wake up. Okay. I'm going to see where we have right here. Thank you, Danity. Like and subscribe to support the work we're doing here. Thank you. Putting on for the Ravens flock. Thank you, Danity. Much, much appreciated. Thank you so much. Yes, make sure you hit the like button for me. It helps the channel a ton. Do that for me. That's right, Joey. Ravens all day. Yolanda all day. That's right. We're getting it done. Turnovers are big tonight, Frank G. Yes, you know it. We got to control those turnovers. Those penalties, we cannot afford to have those penalties, because they are costing us each game. Whoever wins this game, The turnovers are big for both teams. Absolutely. That's right. John Parsons, Ojabo is active tonight. Good. Great. Ojabo is active tonight. Let me take 2.5 on that. Odafe, you are not by yourself. Ojabo, David Ojabo, I hope you're watching too. Not right now, because you need to be on the field. But I hope you watch later, tomorrow, later this evening, whenever. Please, you are active. You need to get out there and produce. How many sacks? Somebody in the chat, let me know. How many sacks, and I can look it up, but I'm sure you guys might know this. How many sacks does Ojabo have this season? I know he's been inactive and he hasn't played, I don't know how many games. He's only played a handful. But out of the handful that he has played, how many sacks does David Ojabo have? I'd like to know that. Dewan, I'm with you. We should have cut JAD or Ali. Yeah. This is what I'm saying. We have these draft picks, Rasheen Ali. We hoard these draft picks. We don't use them. Why don't we use them? Probably I'm going to go with they're not good. They're not good. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Or, that's what I'm believing, rather. Danity says Unique is better than Ojabo. Right. Anything is better than Ojabo, especially if Ojabo hasn't had much production. So us, waiving Unique Ngakoue still doesn't make sense. Yes, Frank G, protect Lamar. We talked about it earlier. Yes, absolutely. Lamar Jackson has been dealing with knee and back issues. He needs to come out of here absolutely clean. 100%. No QB hits, definitely no sacks. That means this O-line has to protect him, make sure he remains upright. It's a tall order against Trey Hendrickson, but we got to do it. John Parsons says this game is important after already losing to the Browns in the division. Precisely. And the Browns are on a bye week. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they play Washington on Sunday at Washington. In terms of us not wanting to continue to dwindle down in the AFC North, we need a win. We need this win. We lost to the Browns. We cannot afford to lose. We don't want to lose to the Bengals. Score predictions are coming in. All right, let's see. John Parsons says Ravens 27-24. Ooh. Okay, I'll give mine in a moment. Frank G. Life, he says Ravens are taking this one 27-20. Yes, I can see this. Jamil 309. Now we're talking my language when the Ravens are up 38. Yes, we're going to win this 21. Thank you, Danity. He has 1 sack. David Ojabo has 1 sack on the season. 1. So tonight has to be David Ajabo's night. It needs to be both. Odafe Oweh, David Ojabo. Kyle Van Noy's been pretty quiet these last couple of games. It's time. DJ will make a play tonight. Okay. All right. We need everybody to make some plays tonight. I'll give you my score. And it's really close to Jamil 309. Given that there's not going to be a T. Higgins tonight, like I mentioned, that for us allows us to double team Jamar Chase. But again, it starts with us on defense having a really solid game. I don't worry so much about our offense being able to put up points. My score prediction tonight for these Baltimore Ravens, going up against those busy Bengals, 38-28 Ravens. That's it. All right, ladies, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight. I will see you all back at halftime, and it will be late when this game is over, so I don't know that I will do my post-game show tonight, but if I don't, then I'll do one tomorrow. I think, yeah, it'll come up soon. It'll either be tonight or tomorrow. It might even be Saturday because I don't know what I have going on tomorrow night, but I'm not going to make any promises, but we'll see. William, a new face, new avatar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing the last portion of your name right. William Wadey. I hope I did. He says Baltimore 33, Cincinnati 23. Welcome to the stream, William. I can stand behind that score, although it's a little too close. It's 10 points, so it's not that bad. But I just would like a little bit more of a lead so that we can sit Lamar Jackson in the fourth quarter and allow him to rest. But that means we'll have Josh Johnson or whoever else they have back there at quarterback. But by that point, by that time, hopefully, we'll be smooth sailing. We'll be coasting. So All right. I will see you back here at halftime. We do our halftime check-in. I will let you know if I think we're on the path to winning this game, what adjustments need to be made. We'll just talk it up. We'll talk about it. So I will see you then. Until next time, you take care, stay safe, and always remember, go Ravens. God bless.